This is day 2 of my healing of my meniscus, and as you can see, I'm surrounded by love here. What I did was I was supposed to wait for 3 days, so don't do this at home. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to do the really traditional way where I don't use ice. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the very traditional stuff, you don't use ice, you use herbs instead. The reason being is that ice congeals the blood, it stops the blood flow. So temporarily it reduces the swelling, but long term it can increase the stagnation in the local area. What I'm doing is I'm using topical herbs that are going to also reduce inflammation, but they're going to increase the blood flow, and there's not going to be any blockage to heal. I chose to, instead of making my own powders and using that, I chose to use a pre-made plaster, and this is a popular brand. It is modeled after San, which is uses what they call the yellows, the 3 yellows in Chinese medicine. They have berberine, I believe it is what gives its yellow hue. It's a similar compound, it's the same compound in golden seal, for example. And it's antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, all those good things. So what you do, it comes like this with a little, you unseal it, and you want to cut it into strips, and you adhere this part with the cloth on it directly onto the skin. So I cut it into little strips, and as you can see here, I place it underneath and around here in little strips. And then over here, this is where the actual incision site was. I did not remove the bottom bandaging, but what I did do, because it was bleeding a little bit, was I used my favorite herbs in the world, Yunnan Baiyao, which is the most important first aid kit you can have. So what I did was I opened one of these little capsules. It also comes in a powder, already powdered form, makes it a little easier, but I had the capsules, which I'm taking internally as well. I opened a capsule and I placed the powder around where it was bleeding. This stops bleeding, it's antibacterial, and it's going to help with wound healing so that there's no scarring. As you can see here, this is where the patches are, all the way around the knee as well. This has a cooling effect. It already feels like it's cooled everything down now because it was feeling really warm. So I'm just going to put this back here now, the way it was before. I finished wrapping it up again, just as it was before, and now I'm going to put the larger brace on here to keep everything stabilized. Internally, in terms of herbs, I am taking Yunnan Baiyao, 4 capsules 3 times a day. Yesterday, right after surgery, I took 6 capsules, so I took a higher dosage. And I'm taking deer antler. I chose this form for 2 reasons. Tincture is cheaper and easier to take, actually 3 reasons. The 3rd reason is that Dragon Herbs has a humane source for their deer antler. That was very important for me. The deer are well taken care of in New Zealand, and they only shave off the tips of the antler, the new growth, which has the highest active compound of the deer antler, and the deer are unharmed, which was really important to me. The deer antler helps to regrow the collagen. The Yunnan Baiyao helps to improve the circulation, antibacterial. It's a miracle it's a miracle injury medication. It's unbelievable. And then also internally, I'm taking an herbal formula, a raw herb formula that I made for myself. I am using chi tonics, blood tonics, and then also herbs to help mend the bones and sinews to help speed up recovery. I just want to say that you should never use herbs unless you see a licensed acupuncturist who was trained in Chinese herbs. It's a really complicated herbal system, and so even though I'm talking about these things and they seem really easy, you have to know what you're doing. For example, with Yunnan Baiyao, it's contraindicated with a lot of medications, especially blood thinners and with high blood pressure medication, because it does thin the blood and it helps prevent blood clots. Another benefit of it, though, post-surgery, is they would have put me on aspirin, and I don't have to take aspirin now because I'm taking this to help thin my blood. It's not going to mess up my digestion. It's not going to hurt my liver, so it's a really nice alternative. But again, please see a licensed herbalist before you do make any choices using Chinese herbs.